Coming up next is Kristen Fontana's Guiding Stars, Evolutionary Astrology, here on HealthyLife.net radio. Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
You're listening to Guiding Stars Evolutionary Astrology Radio. This is Kristen Fontana, and I'm here with Rose Marcus from Vancouver, Canada, to discuss the transits for the coming month, end of May and June of 2022. Welcome back, Rose.
Thank you, Kristen.
Anything to announce before we dive in?
Oh, no, nothing. Nothing scheduled at the moment, but carrying on as usual.
Summer is coming.
Summer is coming.
Summer feels like it's here already.
I hope summer is coming. It hasn't come yet for us.
Oh no!
And we haven't had spring yet, let alone summer.
We had so much sun, and now it's going to rain on Memorial Day weekend. But I don't want to complain because, of course, we need it. But yeah, it's been a wild weather one, and we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde, so it's like the sun said, "Just kidding, I'll be back next week,
maybe."
And hopefully, anyway, yeah. So we are on the other side of two eclipses, big ones, and yet we're still in the throes of all of this energy. They reverberate for sure, and we were talking about this in the last show, that we're really going to be feeling, and probably all sorts of things could still change gears and go in another direction between now and the middle of June. And so Mercury has backed out of Gemini and back into Taurus, and as we're talking here today, it is trining Pluto in Capricorn. So that's where I want to start today, because we're reviewing all sorts of things that can contribute to the future. Maybe it's a new entry point for yourself, and you're trying to figure out how to maximize your time and make your efforts matter. We're all thinking about survival at this point. Wars are going on, and there's just a lot up in terms of, with Uranus and Taurus. We think about the practical things a little bit more, and we think about what holds meaning more. I'm sure, COVID's done that for everybody, but just to really be in the moment. So the retrograde will slow us down and force us to stop a little bit to rethink our footsteps. What do you feel about this retrograde back into Taurus?
Well, I think it's about getting real, huh? And certainly life has gotten far too real for, for those who are suffering on the planet. I mean, it's just been quite amazing. But, it's in these really intense moments that we come to recognize what is most important for us, right? Pluto's in Capricorn. Capricorn deals with priorities, and what is your priority? And I think that we do get quite distracted in life by many sidetracks and so forth, but when it comes right down to it, what is important, right? And what is important, of course, is that, what it is that has value and meaning, the people that you love, right? Keeping yourself as safe and as in a state of well-being as possible. And recognizing, just writing my monthly column, and, my first paragraph is all about this, life is precious, and each moment is a fleeting opportunity. And so it is for every moment for you to be standing present for yourself, standing present for your loved ones. Don't miss the opportunity of the moment. How many times people say that when when somebody leaves the planet unexpectedly, and I didn't get the chance to say goodbye, or I didn't get the chance to tell them how much I love them, and right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think where we're getting stripped right down. We're getting stripped right down. Mercury is in that lovely trine to Pluto, and I had hoped that the rest of the month would be productive, that you would be able to make productive use of your time, productive use of the resources that you have to be able to get things under better control for yourself. And that is my hope and wish as we finish out the month and begin next month. But Mercury is also applying to a square to Saturn, which is currently traveling through the sign of Aquarius. And Saturn in Aquarius has been a trigger on both of the recent eclipses as well, too. Now, Mercury is not going to back up entirely to Saturn by those students of astrology who are listening out there, a square, but it gets very, very close, right? So I think that Mercury is putting us under a bit of pressure, right? Yeah.
What about, forcing you to be patient for something?
Well, yeah, forcing you to slow down and to take a look at it. And certainly Saturn in Aquarius is about maintaining a little bit more objectivity and detachment so that you can put things in their proper perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's interesting when you start to blend all of these energies, and, we've got Mercury trining Pluto, but it's squaring Saturn. And so it's kind of like someone offers you the job, but you don't get quite the number that you were looking for, right? The salary, perhaps, could be something like that. Or, you're still in this wave of negotiation, so maybe right out of the gates it doesn't happen, but once Mercury moves direct and actually will come back and form a forward-moving trine to Pluto on the 10th of June, maybe it will take until then for you to feel finished or complete around something that you're working through. Maybe you're putting in an offer on a house and having to do that during a Mercury retrograde. Maybe you're having to refinance something and having to do that under a retrograde. So there's all sorts of things that could be going on. If everything doesn't look exactly how you want it to look today, it doesn't mean it can't. It just means it might take a little more time.
Well, that's a point to make as well, too. Things move in stages and steps. And I might think that this Mercury retrograde trining Pluto squaring Uranus is a suggestion of that each step along the way is vastly important. So not to skip over anything, one step, stop, take a look around, then take your next step, stop, take a look around, and so forth, because in that pause moment you may recognize, or you may download, you may see something that you haven't been able to process yet, or haven't been able to define for yourself yet, or finish off, right?
Yeah, I just had a thought. Sometimes parents will reach out to me when their kids, different stages, but going into college, they want to know what location supports their child in terms of astrocartography, etc., or looking at the child's charts for transits. And one in particular comes to mind right now. She's an athlete, and she's getting recruited by different colleges, and she had her heart set on one very prestigious school, and she was in the running for being recruited. And there's so much retrograde energy with this Mercury retrograde, these eclipses. I'm like, oh goodness, you just never know, right? And one thing was so incredible, I think, for this time, for this soul, is that she had been talking to some of the students at the school that she had on her top of her list for playing her sport, and she discovered that a lot of the players are depressed and is just having a hard time, and not to mention the pressure of this type of school and what's expected of everybody there, the competitiveness of the academics, and then also the school. And so all of a sudden her first choice was removed, and because of the retrograde, because of asking those questions. I don't want to go to a place that, and it's not like she could have gotten a full ride that's going to cost all this money and then, have this miserable experience. And so asking questions is incredibly important right now, not assuming anything. I mean, really being the detective you need to be. That's the trine to Pluto. Really kind of peeling back the layers, not how something appears to me, but what is it actually going to be like when I'm there? Or is this a relationship that, is going to support me long term? Is it a waste of time to be doing this or that? I mean, these are the really important questions to ask yourself, because this is your journey, and how you spend your time is important. I love that you brought that up, the stages and steps. I mean, each step right now, especially when we're being, slowed down in some fashion, it's not for no reason. It's not random. We are meant to take something in.
And, that's wonderful that you said that. And the archetype, Mercury has backed into Taurus, and the archetype of Taurus is limited sometimes in its vision, or, tunnel visioned, right? The fact that it's retrograde right now and being triggered by Uranus in Aquarius and the rest of the stars here are perhaps not allowing for that tunnel vision to happen one way or another, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, it's not astrology, but I have a very dear friend who does affirmations, and she always says that you have to put at the end of it, to the greater good of all. And that greater good of all, takes away that kind of tunnel vision or that being stuck on the one thing. Because if it isn't in your highest and best interest, then it's great when, divine order or the divine play takes place in some way that shifts you onto a different track.
Exactly. Oh, that's so true. Another really big transit right now that is, Mars has just entered Aries. Jupiter entered Aries on May 10th. Mars is behind Mars is behind Jupiter right now, and it will move in front of Jupiter on Sunday, May 29th. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday feels very driven, dynamic, gear shifting. Even though Mercury's still retrograde until Friday, June 3rd, there's something that shifts. And what a difference. I don't know about you. You are in Aries, Rose, and I have a moon in Aries. So when Mars went from Pisces, from water to fire, from Pisces to Aries, it was like, whoa. I mean, I felt it overnight. But until Mars comes in front of Jupiter, which is a new phase, it is an Aries energy, there's still something that's percolating behind the scenes, potentially.
Oh, absolutely. And, being the Aries as well, too, I would say that I haven't felt the full steam of the Mars newly into Aries. I haven't felt the Jupiter piece either. Only slightly. I've got a little bit more energy. I'm getting a little bit more exercise. I'm getting a little bit more on things. But I don't think that they've gotten quite up to full speed yet, and that's a point to make. On the 29th, Jupiter and Mars will go new phase.
Yeah, and that's going to make a big difference.
Difference. And then
huge.
And we are recording this for the end of May, but it's for June. But just as finishing out the month, on the 28th of May, Venus moves into Taurus, and that's important because it's Venus. Venus is always important, but it's particularly dynamic in its transit right now because it is the ruler of the North Node, so that punches up the activity or something to watch. And on the 30th, just before we get to next month, we have a new moon, and that's in the sign of Gemini. So this cluster right at the end of the month here, I think we'll see quite a difference between pre and post the weekend, right?
Yeah, exactly. I really feel like, next week is going to feel very different than today. And because of that, just to allow yourself some time to well, the calm before the storm. Hopefully a good storm, a good wave you're going to be surfing.
Well, hopefully that Mercury retrograde trine Pluto, hopefully things will just drop into place for you, right? You know,
oh, that would be nice.
Trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what direction, where am I going to put my time, you know, what am I going to concentrate on? Oh, boom, this is in front of me right now.
Mm-hmm. That is a saving grace, I feel. It's just always, one thing I learned early on with these transits, I was trying to figure out what everything meant. There's never a perfect day, and there's never going to be something where everything's upside down. I mean, yes, there's days that we all have experienced that feel like everything was upside down, but they work, and the energies offset one another. So it's important to look at the energies to see, you know, what's carrying more of the prominence or dominance, you know, which one is driving this thing. And, you know, if there is a really favorable energy and there's a stressful one involved, it could be the pressure or the push that you need to get moving or to clear a hurdle. Sometimes we need a little bit of stress, really, to go beyond where we've been. So that's how we're reading these things. And, yeah, I do like that shift as well of Venus coming into Taurus on Saturday, the 28th, because, you know, that does rule a North Node. Venus does have to do with what's pleasing, you know, what holds meaning to us, and very practical things as well. And so, you know, that can soften the energy with all the fire that's in play.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, you know, the news has been pretty horrific since Mars went into Aries. You know, in the school shooting. And did you see the? I'm sorry, I don't know my sports all that well, but the NBA, the coach and his interview there. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's so emotional and so frustrated and so right on.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that was incredible. It's all over Instagram right now, I think, or social media. But, you know, we need more passionate people like that. It's like, you know, when are we going to do something about it? I mean, I literally just, I was sick to my stomach about that. I mean, I haven't been able to sleep much just thinking about it. I can't even imagine how those parents are feeling, families are feeling. Oh, my God.
Exactly.
You can't even go there. You can't even go there. You can't breathe when you go there. I know as soon as my Mars entered Aries, my son was in a car accident on the very first day. Everybody's okay, but it's like, okay, my little Pisces boy, pay attention. So, I mean, that was so dramatic, so deliberate, so immediate on day one. You know, everybody on the road is driving a little differently, you know, a little faster, a little more Aries-like, a little more Mars-like. So do pay attention to your environment. So things are heating up. I mean, I think about, you know, I did a little research. The last time Jupiter and Mars were conjunct was 11 years ago, but it was later in the sign. The last time they were conjunct at the beginning of Aries, which I feel is already a brand new cycle, and then you put those two at the beginning of the cycle, and it really causes a strong spirit of initiation. It was 1940. You know, think about the war that was going on then.
Wow.
So, you know, just the time on the planet, the similar time on the planet. And moving forward, the next time they'll be conjunct is 2058, but not at the early degree. So it's just rare. And, you know, when you take it to a personal level, Mars has to do with what do you want, not what you need. Not what you need, like the roof over your head. Like, what do you really want? What is driving you? And Mars will always tell you, especially in Aries, you don't even have time to think about it. You don't even want to think about it, because if you think about it, you might mess it up. You just want to follow it, because Mars is pulling from your soul. It's pulling from Pluto, which is telling Mars, through your instinct, what it is that the soul wants right now in order to evolve. So pay attention to that. And when you combine it with Jupiter, Jupiter's all about your truth, what feels inherently authentic or natural, just like merging naturally onto a path I mean, that's Jupiter. It's like, yeah, this feels right. This intuitively feels right. You combine that with your instinct, and you really can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong when these two are working together without resistance, without overthinking. You cannot go wrong.
Well, it's certainly fresh fuel in the tank.
Yeah, and, fresh fuel.
And,
for sure.
And a full tank to work with, right?
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, I haven't quite felt the full Aries energy yet, but I am looking forward to that doing it for me.
You will after Sunday. I'll be checking in with you.
Yeah.
So, what about the new moon? We've got this new moon. So we've got the new moon in Gemini. The ruler of Gemini is at 9 degrees, I believe. The new moon in Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is retrograde, and trining Pluto, and squaring Saturn. So, how do you see this new moon coming up?
Well, I see it as mobilizing for sure. And so it will be interesting to see what does get mobilized. And it's just the tail end of Memorial Day weekend in the U.S., so I assume that there'll be a lot of people traveling. I don't know if the stock market is closed on Memorial Day.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I'm in a different country, but Gemini rules trends, right? And trade and commerce, and the exchange of goods, and it's communication tracks and travel and so on. But I would think, because there's been a lot going on. I've been watching cryptocurrency lately, right? Mm-hmm. And there was this huge shutdown over the past week. Some coins and so forth, completely shut down. So there have been a lot of things that just absolutely stopped in recent past few weeks. And I think that this Mars-Jupiter conjunction and this new moon in Gemini, things that were on stop will suddenly hit go again. And you might find that with anything that you're doing. If you were taking a little bit of a break with something, this is going to be like turn the page and quickly, and let's hit the ground running. Yeah, definitely feel that way. June's going to look a lot different. And before June, even by Tuesday, I think the 31st of May. Yeah. All right, we'll be right back.
Find out about Kristen Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristenFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of Evolutionary Astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed, personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristen's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristenFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. Ah, I'm feeling relaxed already.
What would happen if you didn't follow the established path? Would you feel scared or proud? Could you explain that helping the people of Peru improve their own community would also have an effect on your own? Would you rather make your own way or spend a lifetime saying, what if? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or go to peacecorps.gov.
Water. In the hot summer sun, water is a natural thought, like relaxing at the beach with the waves lapping at your feet, or perhaps being with your significant other under a secluded, gently cascading waterfall. If you want a little more action, how about water skiing or boating on an icy, clear blue lake? With Expedia.com, everything you need for travel, flights, hotels, cruises, vacation packages, they have it all at a price you can afford. Go to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Expedia.com.
I'm William Shatner, and this is Jimmy. Animals like Jimmy are often left behind by people fleeing hurricanes, fires, floods, and earthquakes. These abandoned animals cannot survive on their own. If you must evacuate your home, please never leave an animal behind. If you absolutely cannot take your animal with you, never leave him helplessly chained or caged. Many animals die because they cannot escape fires or rising waters. Animals need your help. Thank you.
Call PETA today, 757-622-PETA.
HealthyLife.net, the Positive Radio Network.
We are back. I'm here with Rose Marcus from Vancouver, and we are discussing the transits for end of May and June 2022. Just coming out of a pair of eclipses. The second one was a total lunar eclipse on the 15th of May in Scorpio. There was a lot of grace in that eclipse, but there was also a lot of push and stress. I've heard it all on both ends of the spectrum, and things are still playing out. We have Mercury will be stationing direct on Friday, June 3rd, and 26 degrees of Taurus stops at. The day after is Saturn moving. Mercury moves direct, and then Saturn moves retrograde in Aquarius the day after. Come on, that's crazy. But maybe not surprising.
Well, Saturn retrograde, and yes, as you just said a moment ago, we're still under the influence of the eclipses, right? So the intensity dial is out there, and as I always say, that eclipses are effective when they happen, but they have a duration of time. So this is still very, very triggered. And so the end of Mercury retrograde on the 3rd, and I do want to say that as we were talking about before the break of the new moon on the 30th and so on, you don't have to wait to the very end of Mercury retrograde to get on with whatever it is that you wanted to get on with, right? So this last week of May and into the first couple of days of June are perfectly fine for the move ahead. When Saturn turns retrograde, then it's in the sign of Aquarius. It shifts the consciousness. So that pulls you back from the way that you have been structuring how you are seeing things go on, and the fact that it is in the sign of Aquarius can give you a new perspective on the reality of the day, on the priorities, and so forth. So I don't think that the Saturn retrograde is necessarily bad, because it is shifting the limits in some capacity, right?
Really.
Yeah. And so if you need those limits to be shifted, if you need your perspective to be shifted, if you need for there to be some change, then this allows for that to happen. Whatever wall you haven't been able to surpass, or whatever block you haven't been able to remove, this Saturn in Aquarius retrograde is going to do that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And so, we have Mercury just moving. It's a little bit of time before it moves into Gemini. But where am I looking at here? The sun's in Gemini as well, too, moving on, right? So more opportunity, more avenues to try, right?
Yeah, I want to share something really inspirational. So a big Saturn retrograde. I mean, I'm an empty nester now. It's rough, but my daughter's graduating from college and moving to New York City, but she'd already moved out in January. But so that's a real change, right, in her environment, her time, and all of that. But a really cool thing happened when she was in college. She had she's been a dancer her whole life, or since she's been 7. And at one point in high school, she said, she doubted whether she could take it to a professional level. And she's a Virgo, so of course she's just questioning everything and full of excuses why she can't do it or shouldn't do it. And halfway through college, she was taking a psychology of aging class, and what part of their curriculum was to interview an elder, somebody in their later years of their life. And she had this incredible interview with a woman in her 80s. I'll call her Sandy. And she talked about how aging had affected her. She is a musician, and I think she taught kids piano lessons. And she was encouraged her whole life to to take her music further, to become a performer, that she was so gifted, and she never did. And so she was talking about her life, and her heartbreaks and everything else throughout her journey, this elderly woman. And at the very end of the interview, my daughter said, "I have one more question. Do you have any regrets?" And Sandy said, "Yes. I wish I would have gone for it." And so my daughter just fell apart and sobbed in that moment. And she knew then that she had to try. She had to go for it too. And so she's going to New York City to pursue the theater arts and to dance there. So, I think it's important, whether you make it or not, that you try. That you don't have any regrets, because you know that you put it all out there, that you left it all on the playing field, that left it all on the stage, that you gave it all you had. I mean, I think this Jupiter-Mars conjunction can really fuel those desires and give you the courage and the confidence to at least, starting is sometimes the hardest thing for anybody, right? To just say, yes, I'm going. Just putting yourself in motion. That's such a Virgo, sixth house kind of thing, to not overanalyze things too much. So just want to encourage people through this Mercury retrograde that does naturally rule the sign of Virgo. If there's something that you've been wanting to do and haven't had the courage or the confidence to do it, just, don't think about it. Just do it and just put yourself in motion. I really feel that it's the best gift you could give yourself.
Well, and that's a statement for nowadays as well, too, because the reality is changing big time, right? Pluto is finishing up in Capricorn this year, moving into Aquarius next year, and will stay in Aquarius coming up for 20 years. And that's going to alter existing reality from the ground up for all of us, right? So the old methods of living our lives, doing it the way that, it's always been done, that's on a complete breakdown right now. And there's great opportunity in that to try a new avenue, to try a new path. And why not? Why not?
Right.
Why not this instead of that? I mean, who says that you have to do it the same way as everybody around you, right? And it is for us to find our unique lives, right?
Right.
And especially, the Aries piece. Aries is youth. And youth is the time for courage, too, I think, right? Why not? I was listening in the car to, what's his name? Eminem, that opportunity comes but once, you got to use it, don't lose it,
Yeah.
I love that song, right? Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, wish her all the best.
Yeah, I mean, I always, as her mom, because, of course, I just feel like her soul comes so alive when she's doing what she loves. It is her church, it is her meditation, and she loves to make people feel good with whatever, that expression, to put a smile on people's face. And I feel that you do that lights you up in some way, whether it's, privately or on a stage. It's important that you take what is within you and share it with others, in simple ways and in profound ways. And it always bummed me out that she didn't want to, go for it. And it just took, talking to someone who had been in her shoes to say she wished she had for that door to swing open. And, maybe it's going to be something like that for one of you. It's just going to a little thing can go so far, right? As we say sometimes, it just takes something small to open your world or the path, all the way up, wide open. All right, we're going to move to a break, and we'll be right back.
Find out about Kristen Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristenFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristen's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristenFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
Have you ever wondered why you are here on this planet and what the point to all of this is? Evolutionary astrology is a natural science that allows for an understanding of the evolutionary journey of the soul from life to life. Evolutionary astrology provides a vehicle to understand prior life dynamics that have led to the reason and purpose for the life you live. It offers a depth of information and insights about each person that no other type of astrology can provide. As Jeffrey Wolf Green, the founder of Evolutionary Astrology, says,
for those who wish to unveil the depth of who you actually are, I would highly recommend that you seek out qualified evolutionary astrologers such as Kristen Fontana and other graduated students of the School of Evolutionary Astrology. For those who are considering becoming an astrologer to make it a natural career, I'd recommend that you consider Jeffrey Wolf Green's School of Evolutionary Astrology, where it will assist you in answering and your clients answering a big question. Why am I here? Thanks for listening, and God bless.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. I'm feeling relaxed already.
Whether you're taking a short trip or traveling across the world, Magellans.com is the world's most trusted source for travel, and they guarantee 100% satisfaction. They have everything you need to make travel just a bit more pleasurable. Who doesn't like that? They have travel alarms, clothing, the best luggage, wallets, everything you need except the ticket. Visit the advertiser page on HealthyLife.net and click on Magellans Now. You will not only see their travel products, but get a free catalog and read articles with tips on how to make your travel easier. Visit the advertiser page and click on Magellans Now.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
All right, we have returned. So it feels like one of those transition times where, you know, when you're walking through those turnstiles, you're going from the parking lot to the event. Those little turnstiles you walk through, It feels very different in the parking lot than it does in the event. And I'm not saying we're all hanging out in the parking lot having a pre-party or anything, but you know, that turnstile could potentially be taking you into a whole other world in the landscape. I know I've been hearing a lot of stories about that. So the turnstile in time, and it can also be something within you that's changing. It doesn't have to be some massive outer change. But the perspective that you were talking about, Rose, I love that with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. It gives you that distance to see something, a little more space between you and your reality, space between you and your past maybe, and space between you and what you're pursuing that allows you to see it with a new pair of eyes. And then, you know, when we're a little bit less immersed and enmeshed, when we're more objective about something, then we tend to make the best decisions for ourselves. We're not making it out of some emotional reaction or attachment. Then we can make choices that allow us to really, you know, get a move on and rapidly grow and go in the way that we, or our soul wishes that we will. So anyway, I do appreciate how you talked about that Saturn retrograde.
Yeah. You know, exactly. And as we come through the first 10 days of the month, I'll just say, you know, we're in the month of Gemini, and not to underestimate a Gemini influence. You know, it opens up new avenues, you know, new doors, new portals, and so forth. And of course, as I said earlier, it's trend setting. The sun is picking up the energy of Aquarius, picking up the nodes of Uranus, and so I expect it to be an on-the-go, you know, period of time with Mercury ending retrograde and that Saturn moving out of the way by turning retrograde. I think we'll see a lot of action taking place out there in the world. And, the weather, the season is getting to the point of where school semesters are ending and people are wanting those vacations that they put off while COVID was happening and so forth. So we'll see a lot of action, right? It's time for people to be making moves in their lives, whatever they are making. And as we move forward, on the 13th of June, Mercury will enter Gemini, and by about the 18th, it will complete its post-shadow of that retrograde cycle. And we have a full moon on the 14th of June, and it is a super full moon, so it's a little punched-up moon. And on the 28th, we have a new moon, and both of those, the full moon and the new moon, 14th and 28th, involve Neptune. So on the super full moon, the full moon is square Neptune, and on the 28th, and of course the full moon is in Sagittarius, and on the 28th we have a new moon in Cancer, but on that day Neptune stations retrograde. So, just as you were saying a few moments ago, Neptune is a planet that, of course, we can't see as some fog or, some uncertainty. But as Neptune gets triggered, it exposes or reveals, right? So it's still moving forward with a lot of unknown, right? A lot of unknowns, but step by step along the way. It's like, I can't remember whether you said it or I said it last show. It's like driving with the headlights and only being able to see a little bit in front of you, right? That's the best you can do for now, but trust that the road is going to unfold in front of you, or that you're going to be able to see what's next at the appropriate moment. And that's the point to make as well, too, is that at the appropriate moment, you're going to be standing on a crossroads or a threshold, and it is really to your advantage to stay as prepared as you can, to acclimatize, to get your ducks lined up, so when you hear the bell or see the green light, you can go, right? That's the importance of living every moment to its fullest, of bringing full presence to the moment. That's the point. If you can really, really be here now, when you end up with choice makings, you will be aligned with your soul, and then the choice makings won't be so much of a dilemma, it won't be so much of a crisis, won't be so much of a mystery to solve, because you will be so well aligned that you will naturally pick what is in your highest and best interest.
I love that. So good. It's true. So let's back up to that full moon in Sagittarius. You said it was squaring Neptune on the 14th.
Yeah, it's squaring Neptune, right? Yeah, and that's very, very interesting. The sun is on a trigger point. The moon position would be in terms of a shift of consciousness, right? That's a shift of consciousness. And, I wanted to just say this new moon, I think it is, the 4th of June, when Mercury ends retrograde and Saturn turns retrograde, the sun is sitting in position with Juno, the contract asteroid, and by dynamic tension. And again, it's kind of on a reveal pattern or on a breakthrough pattern. So, if you don't know which choice to make, I think things will fall into place if you will, stay open, stay present, and keep open-minded. That's a good Gemini archetype, too, isn't it?
So when do you think, when would you say that would be?
That's June 4, when that happens, right? And then as we move along here, we have Sun square Neptune in terms of a trigger point, in terms of a download, and Moon is in Sagittarius, right? That's Sagittarius. Also on the full moon, that's June 14, Mars is conjunct Chiron. That's 15 degrees Aries. So if you have these, if the full moon is picking up influence in your chart, I'm sure that this will be something that was going to open your eyes. It's going to be a download, a message, an opportunity, something coming in that makes you aware and can catapult you.
All right, so this is classic Kristen, because, I'm a Sag. I can't help but have to look, because I get a little overwhelmed when I think of a super full moon squaring Neptune. I don't know. It just overwhelms me. But so I'm like, okay, but Saturn is trining the sun.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pretty much. And sextiling this full moon. So that is allowing you to see something clearly, objectively, and you're not, it's not the spinning out of control kind of thing.
No, this full moon should be revealing.
Revealing.
Revealing. It's exposing and revealing some hidden potential, some opportunity, something along that line, something that has escaped your gaze, that has, not met the full light of day. And you get to see it, and whatever it is that is revealed to you, whether it's a download or whether it's an aha moment or whether it's something somebody said, something you read, something you witnessed, anything along that line, the sun's trine to Saturn is a suggestion of being able to move you forward. And, it's almost like, I might think, like the train track, you're traveling down the track and all of a sudden somebody switched it, so you're now moving in a different direction suddenly, and it feels right, and it feels like, well, there you go, I'm now on track. I thought I was on track, now I'm on track.
That's perfect. I thought I was on track, now I am on track. So Mercury then has come just about cleared its shadow, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just at 0 degrees of Gemini. It's still got a few more degrees to go. And Chiron, in Mars conjunct Chiron, we always talk about Chiron as the wounded healer archetype. And I always say that there's a price to pay. You have to give up to get with Chiron in some way. But I always want to remind listeners out there that Chiron is also about destiny, right? And so it produces an extraordinary moment, an extraordinary opportunity. I always say with that, it's like Pegasus shows up with the chariot. You have to take the ride.
Oh, my goodness. I never even thought of Chiron that way.
It often is. I can't tell you how many times clients made contact with me and said, I found this fantastic course I want to take, but, I see I'm having this Chiron transit, and I don't know whether to do it or not.
And gosh.
Oh, my God. Well, that's the writing on the wall stuff.
Yeah, well, I would definitely see that, definitely with the Chiron transit, that taking a course would be perfect for that.
Yeah, exactly. This is a time frame when you bust out of the mold and you do something that is not as your usual, but it is, it shows up for a reason, and the reason it shows up is because you're supposed to take it on.
Yeah, you're going to be feeling more vulnerable at that time. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're open, you're receptive, you're softening. Yeah, definitely a time to grow. All right, we'll be back for our last segment right after this.
Find out about Kristen Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristenFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed, personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristen's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristenFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
Take one step towards spirit. Spirit will take 1,000 steps toward you. Come explore the world of evolutionary astrology with Rose Marcus. Rose Marcus is well known for her heartfelt passion, sensitive counseling skills, and dedication to helping others. You can now study evolutionary astrology from the comfort of your own home through live teleconference classes with Rose. To register for the next Evolutionary Astrology School, to read your in-depth monthly horoscope, or to book a private astrology with Rose Marcus, please visit her website, www.rosemarcus.com.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
In college, I took a lot of history and liberal arts classes, and frankly, I don't remember much of any of it. But as an adult, I find myself engrossed in fascinating programs on the A&E and History Channel. They've pretty much helped me to be pretty impressive at social functions, and I just found out today that I can purchase DVDs of my favorite A&E and History Channel programs right through HealthyLife.net. You should visit HealthyLife.net and order your favorite A&E and History Channel program DVDs as well, and then discover how many people you can impress during your next social occasion.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
All right, we have returned. I'm here with Rose Marcus, closing the show. Another month ahead, and what are the last tidbits?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new moon to finish off the month, and that is on the 28th of June. It is a new moon in Cancer, 7 degrees Cancer. So, of course, the new moon in Cancer is quite well timed for the summer of, let's spend time with the family and, let's, do the home thing, right? Home comforts, the baselines and so forth. So that's, it's a good moon for that. The moon will be square Jupiter, almost exact. And so I would imagine that at the end of June there are a lot of people moving into a new home, or it might be something where the family is expanding in some way. It is a new chapter of home and family life. The Cancer archetype as well, too, is for evolutionary astrology anyway, the self-image, right? So it is about you living with yourself, a new living with yourself chapter, right? So that's about you getting back in touch with what is most essential for you. It's time to dust yourself off and spruce yourself up and see what's new, right?
Yeah, nurturing yourself and knowing yourself. I think the square to Jupiter is about how can I more openly and honestly express who I am, or how can I nurture myself in ways that I think of being in nature. I think of natural ways to strengthen your inner landscapes, your inner home. Really watering those gardens as well. And so, the sun has a way of doing that, helping us do that a little bit more.
Well, I think it is becoming aware of new impulses and, your new consciousness and new desires that may be forming and so on. They can sneak up on you, or maybe that's been something that has been pending for a while, right? So give yourself time to explore whatever it is that is clamoring for some attention.
Oh, yeah.
Give some time to that to see where it might take you. And along with that, Mars is still in the sign of Aries till about the 4th or 5th of July. And as it finishes out the month, it's starting to form tension to Pluto, forming a square aspect to Pluto. So come the end of the month, you may feel that sense of some kind of pressure building or some kind of, I've got to get on with something, It's time for me to get on with the next phase. And so if you feel that kind of energy, that's good because you are aligning with the stars. It is time for a new chapter to begin, a new chapter of me, myself, and I, as I always say, and of course that extends to how I nurture and nourish myself and how I spend time living in my home and with the people in it, right?
I definitely feel like that's a big transit, that Mars square Pluto, because this is like an evolutionary gate in our terminology, right? So because Mars and Pluto really dictate the rate and speed at which we evolve is linked with our choices, and it is about wanting to make new choices and feeling pressure to do so because you don't want to run. You feel like you may even be feeling like, hey, I'm running out of time. If I don't get on this, there can be that feeling with that transit. And so your patience will be nil. It's like you really will want to get on with things. And you really will feel like you need to make that move ready or not. And so that's what a little pressure from Pluto and Mars will do. And we're always grateful after. I mean, I think ultimately we talk about it being the transit for eliminating what doesn't serve us anymore at this point in our journey. It can feel very empowering on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at Eris as well, too, planetary body Eris, and it sits at 24, almost 25 degrees Aries. So Mars will have moved over that, and I call Eris a positive catalyst because she's in the sign of Aries for all of us, and Eris won't let you forget about yourself. Aries is the archetype of desire, right? So that is the burr in the saddle that says, I want. And I always think it's good when we can define what I want means. First you have to have that spark, that fire lit. And the next thing is, Eris makes you get up out of your chair and go do something about it, right? So that's going to give you added will to assert in whatever way, impulse and instinct is saying, I've got to fill in the blank, right?
Right. I love that. I didn't know that about Eris, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really can be about putting yourself first and really nurturing what you need and strengthening who you are and going after what you want. Obviously, in a way where ultimately everybody will win. When we take care of ourselves, people benefit. So it's just the energy that, by nurturing what we need, we feel more in balance, right, with the natural square from Cancer to Libra. And it allows us to, that energy to spill into other areas and relationships in our life. So looking to ourselves to provide for ourselves what we need. I see very much the Pluto-Mars square, though, at that very same time. Again, a turning point and a transition and an opportunity to let go of something from the past that you've been spending time doing that you don't want to be doing anymore, that's not productive for your growth and for your soul at that time.
And on that new moon, Neptune is stationing retrograde. Neptune is traveling through the sign of Pisces, which has been doing for a long time and has a ways to go yet. And when outer planets turn to retrograde, they're usually very subtle, so oftentimes they go unnoticed. But Neptune retrograde is a tuning in archetype, and retrograde patterns get more specific. They get more focused in. That Neptune in Pisces wants to source from something specific. So it has that ability to tune in to the specifics that the soul is desiring to unlock and uncover for its own soul growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it can be a time, too, where you're spiritualizing your life a little bit more, right? Or being more sensitive to those more timeless, seamless realms.
And it is a time to, of course, surrender to the process and to allow for that which is most natural to rise to the surface and to reveal itself.
All right. Well, a lot is coming. I mean, we've got a lot. We've just come through a bunch. But as we move into around the middle of June, as we've been talking about, and we mentioned in our last show, things are going to be, or continue to be clear. If you're not certain which direction you're moving, very clear by the end of June, it sounds like, right, Rose?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be on to the next track. And, of course, the 21st of June is a summer solstice, and the day after, on the 22nd, Venus moves into Gemini. So I think, again, we're going to feel that June is quite action-packed.
Excellent. We like action. We like motion. And we want you as an Aries to feel that fire. So I'm going to be checking in with you next week. And we wish you all a safe holiday weekend if you are in the U.S. and celebrating Memorial Day with loved ones. And Rose and I will be back with you at the end of June to take a look at July and what's in store for you then. Until next time, namaste.